The hangar bay of Station Kepler 9 hummed with the familiar rhythm of docking clamps and pressurization cycles. Elijah Chen stood beside his modified Corsair-class fighter, wiping grease from his hands with a rag that had seen better days. The ship bore scars from 100 skirmishes along the frontier, pulse burns, micrometeorite impacts, and one particularly nasty gash from a Krell plasma cutter that he'd barely escaped 3 months prior. His daughter Emma sat cross-legged, on the hangar floor nearby, her fingers dancing through a holographic puzzle that floated in the air before her. At 7 years old, she possessed her mother's sharp mind and his own stubborn determination. The augmented reality visor covered her eyes, a necessary adaptation after the genetic condition that had stolen her sight 2 years ago. Through the neural interface, she could see the world in ways that even the sighted couldn't fully comprehend. "Papa, your heart rate just spiked," Emma said without looking up from her puzzle. "Are you nervous about something?" Elijah grimaced. The biometric link between Emma's medical monitor and his comm band was supposed to be for emergencies only, but his daughter had proven remarkably adept at hacking her own equipment. "It's nothing, sweetheart. Just recalibrating the thruster alignment." "You're lying. Your respiration changed too." She tilted her head, the visor's soft blue glow reflecting off her dark hair. "Is it because of the blind date Uncle Marcus set up for you?" "That man has a big mouth," Elijah muttered, though without real anger. Marcus had been his wingman for 15 years, through the Outer Rim Wars and the chaos that followed. If anyone had earned the right to meddle in his personal life, it was Marcus. The thing was, Elijah hadn't been on a date since Sarah died. Raising Emma alone, taking mercenary contracts to pay for her medical treatments, trying to give her some semblance of a normal childhood on the edge of civilized space, it didn't leave much room for romance. But Marcus had been insistent, and the woman, apparently another pilot, had seemed understanding about his situation when they'd exchanged messages. Still, bringing someone into their small, carefully balanced world felt dangerous in ways that facing down pirate raiders never had. A proximity alert chimed through the hangar's comm system. "Incoming vessel requesting docking permission, Bay 7. Transponder identifies as the Crimson Worm, registered to Captain Arya Volkov." Elijah's blood ran cold. Every pilot from here to the core worlds knew that name. Arya Volkov, the Dragon Lady, Ace of Aces, the woman who'd single-handedly turned the tide at the Battle of Titan's Gate. She flew a custom-built interceptor that was more weapon than ship, and rumor claimed she'd never lost a dogfight. Some said she had reflexes enhanced by illegal Martian military augments. Others whispered she was simply that good. She was also, according to Marcus's gleefully delivered message this morning, his blind date. "Papa, your heart rate just spiked again," Emma observed. "Really high this time." The hangar bay doors cycled open with a pneumatic hiss. The Crimson Worm glided through the atmospheric barrier like a predator entering a cage, sleek, red-hulled, bristling with weapon pods that were technically illegal in most jurisdictions. The ship settled onto its landing struts with barely a whisper of thrust, a feat of piloting that Elijah couldn't help but admire despite his growing panic. The cockpit unsealed, and Arya Volkov descended the ladder with fluid grace. She was tall, with sharp features and silver-white hair cut short in a military style. Her flight suit bore patches from a dozen different mercenary companies and naval units, but what caught Elijah off guard was the uncertainty in her expression as she approached, an emotion he never would have associated with the legendary Dragon Lady. "Elijah Chen?" she asked, her voice carrying a slight Slavic accent. "I'm Arya. I hope Marcus warned you about who I am. He thought it would be funny to surprise you. But I don't want to start this with deception. He mentioned you might have a reputation," Elijah managed, acutely aware that his hand was still clutching the greasy rag. Arya's lips quirked in a half-smile. "A reputation? That's diplomatic." Her gaze shifted to Emma, and something softened in her expression. "And you must be Emma. Marcus told me about you. He said you're the best co-pilot your father's ever had." Emma stood, her visor tracking Arya's position through a combination of thermal imaging, sonar mapping, and motion detection. "You're the Dragon Lady. Your fighter uses a modified fusion core that runs 20% hotter than standard military spec. The heat signature is distinctive. Arya's eyes widened slightly. Yes, exactly right. How did you? I see differently than you do, Emma said simply. Papa says it's my superpower. For a long moment, the three of them stood in awkward silence, the weight of unspoken expectations hanging in the air. Elijah felt paralyzed, caught between the instinct to protect his daughter and the sudden irrational hope that maybe, just maybe, this could be something good. It was Arya who broke the silence, crouching down to Emma's level. I'm not very good at this, she admitted. Dating, I mean. I've spent most of my life in a cockpit and people generally either fear me or want something from me. But Marcus said your father was different, that he was a good man trying to do right by his daughter in a galaxy that doesn't make that easy. So I thought, maybe we could just be honest with each other. No expectations, no performances. Just three people sharing a meal and seeing if we enjoy each other's company. Emma tilted her head, processing. Then she smiled, a genuine expression of delight that Elijah hadn't seen often enough lately. I like her, Papa. She talks to me like I'm a person, not a broken thing that needs to be fixed. Elijah felt something tight in his chest begin to loosen. He looked at Arya, really looked at her, and saw past the legend to the woman beneath. Someone who was as uncertain and hopeful as he was, who'd walked into this situation knowing it was complicated and chosen to be vulnerable anyway. Station Kepler has a decent restaurant on level 12, he said slowly. They make this Terran style pasta that Emma loves, and they don't mind if a 7-year-old hacks their holo menu to add extra desserts. Arya stood and her smile reached her eyes this time. That sounds perfect, though I should warn you, I'm very competitive about desserts. Emma and I might end up in an alliance against you. I can live with that, Elijah said, and found that he meant it. As they walked toward the hangar exit together, Emma between them chattering excitedly about her holographic puzzles, and Arya asking genuinely interested questions, Elijah allowed himself to imagine a future that was bigger than just survival. Maybe the galaxy had room for second chances after all. Above them, the Crimson Worm and the scarred Corsair sat side by side in the hangar bay, two warriors at rest, their battles paused for an evening. And for the first time in a long time, Elijah Chen felt something that had become foreign to him. He felt hope,